So, eating less salt is very, very, very important. So I do recommend it. So now, medication. Yeah, I love medications because they really help you, but my dad was a doctor, but I didn't follow on his footsteps though. So I pretty much, became a dietitian. At the end of the day, we need to know about medications and everything at the end of the day, but I'm not a doctor. But of course, I want to make sure that, everyone can eat healthy and also control all the problems with a healthy diet, right? So again, we do have familial cholesterol, which sometimes manifests after you're 40. Usually comes from your mom, your grandma, and it's when your liver starts making cholesterol out of the blue. There is something that activates at the time, and your liver starts making a lot of cholesterol. It's not related to diet or anything. You know, um, it's just your body making more cholesterol or your liver making more cholesterol. And that for that sometimes you have to take medication for the rest of your life. My mother had familial cholesterol. We are three sisters. My middle sister is the one with the problem. So far, knock on wood, like they say. I don't, but it's very important sometimes to know your family history so you know what's going on. And then, sometimes also you have a very strong family history with blood pressure, and you may be eating super healthy and watching your sodium, and in many instances that is not helping. So you may end up having medication or needing medication. For that. Statins also are prescribed most often to help lower cholesterol, and they really help. There was when the statins were created, they thought they were a miracle cure, but again, some people are allergic to different medications. So of course, they have different statins. Also some people may need blood pressure medications at the end of the day. Not only eating healthy, and healthy eating, exercise, and medications work together to help you lower your risk for heart attack. So that's basically truth. But of course, sometimes if you eat healthier and you start exercising more, you may actually lower your medication. So that would be the goal, if you ask me, to eat healthier. So then, some of the medications to lower your risk, what helps you remember to take your medications, right? Because that's the biggest issue that we see when we talk to patients. Sometimes, oh, I'm not taking medication, or I forgot my medication. So I always say, what actually you can share for other people. So I don't know if you guys want to, use the chat area to enter, if you're doing anything of this, or maybe this is new to you. But actually, some people answer because they did a survey, and some people say, okay, I like to set up an alarm on my phone. Remember that I I was born in 1968, so we didn't grow up with smartphones. So back then, we didn't have much alarms to set, with your smartphone. But there were other ways to remember to take the medication, like sometimes putting the label in a different way, So now that, we on modern times, setting an alarm on your smartphone, to remember to take your medication, take them at the same time every day. Of course, if you're taking a medication that it requires for you to take at the same time, you can have a routine. Take them with a meal or while brushing teeth. For example, there are medications that you can take, when you're brushing your teeth in the morning. But if you're taking a, medication for the blood pressure, remember that it usually removes fluid from your body. You don't want to take a blood pressure medication before going to bed because you're going to be in the bathroom all night. So, some of these, doesn't make sense. So, and I hope that you have other ideas, or if you're doing other things, if you want to share, you're welcome to share in the chat area. I know that you guys might be like this, comfortably listening to me, but if you want to participate, that's good, because sometimes you can provide, ideas that other people may not know. But, the most common one is, to actually have somebody reminding them. If you're married, married, of course, you have a partner in crime that it will actually remind you to take your medication. So that's also a good practice. And then also to buy those pill boxes that you can have all the medications for the whole week. So if you're like me, that I forget sometimes what I did 5 minutes ago, maybe not seeing the medication there, it says, okay, I took the medication. So, that's also good recommendations right there. If you have anything in mind, you can type it in the chat area. Also, if you're thinking about lifestyle changes, these lifestyle changes can lower your risk of a heart attack, or stroke, and can be as effective as medications. See, this actually was written by a dietitian. More plants, or eating more plant-based foods, of course, more exercise, healthy diet, less alcohol, less salt, and lower weight. Again, alcohol is a double whammy, because if you go online and you look for red wine, you will see that they do have studies that moderate serving, and remember, moderate serving is for women 5 ounces, which is a little bit more than half a cup, and for men maybe two drinks of 4 or 5 ounces each, you know, per day. That's a recommendation. But again, the American Cancer Society says a lot of alcohol can be bad for you. But when they're referring to is like maybe vodka, rum, all the alcohol that can be, very damaging to your liver. But at the end of the day, red wine has resveratrol. Resveratrol is a antioxidant. And remember, antioxidants actually are very, very important, because they are the ones that, will prevent your body from to have inflammation. So in many instances, inflammation is the first sign that something is broken in your body. And your body, when what your body does, your body wants to go and fix it, right? And once the body cannot fix it, then of course, uh, your body starts doing some kind of a quick fix in that area, and that can actually activate some of the cancer markers, and you may end up actually having some issues. So that's why eating healthier can prevent that. Remember, when we talk about antioxidants, not only red wine and resveratrol, but also vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin A, those are some antioxidants, and some of the B vitamins too. So remember, you can get fruits, vegetables, whole grains. They all provide you with all those vitamins and minerals that they're wonderful for your health. So, think about it, because, of course, it's very, very important. Less salt means less processed foods. What are some of the heart healthy foods, right? So you may be asking, right? Oh, well, these are some of the heart healthy foods. We combine, or we use the Mediterranean, and I forgot to mention the DASH diet. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. And now you have the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet combined. If you want to know, they call them the MIND diet. And the reason they call it the mind diet, because they did studies with this, Christian, the one that needs to be, the HDL should be higher than 40. No, actually, your LDL, as far as I'm concerned, having a very low LDL like that, that means that you have a very low risk of having a heart attack, which is wonderful. But the good cholesterol, the HDL, which is 39, that one you want to increase it. You want to try to bring it 40 or higher. Maybe you want to start exercising, eating a little bit more of the healthy fats that we're going to discuss, because actually the when the LDL is low, it's better. So no, you're perfectly fine, Christian. Only exercise a little bit so you can bring your HDL a little bit higher to 40. But as far as I'm concerned, nutritionally speaking, your LDL or bad cholesterol is perfect being low. So good job, actually. That's wonderful. Yeah, and again, I asked my doctor once, yeah, more exercise. I asked my doctor once, because my LDL is 108. It's been 108 for a while. Every time I go, every year they check 108, 108. My doctor says, okay, because I have a good, total cholesterol, and my HDL is, in the 55, 60, so it's okay. But then, my doctor says sometimes, some doctors don't consider, having a very bad cholesterol until, LDL is like about 130. That's when they start worrying, that, because that's super bad. And then he was telling me that there are people that they have a very low LDL, and that's good. That is a good sign that you are going to have low markers for heart attack. So that's perfect, Christian. I think that you're doing great. But yeah, I would recommend more exercise. And the recommendation from the American Heart Association and a Kaiser, they follow the guidelines. Is 30 minutes, 5 days per week, aerobic exercise. So you can go for a walk for 30 minutes every day, and, try to find 30 minutes that you can exercise. That can be wonderful. Walking, anything that activates your heart to move more. So in any case, the DASH diet, like I was saying, and I was talking about the MIND diet. Now we know, and we do have studies. MIND, stands for, something in the mind at the end of the day. But actually, they combine these two diets to, provide an excellent tool for people with Alzheimer's disease or pre-Alzheimer's disease. So they notice that people who actually eat, more fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes, very, very high fiber foods, uh, lots of vitamins and minerals, from whole and refined foods. And then, of course, it's, diets that are very low in animal products, and then low in saturated fat and trans fats can actually help your brain function better. So if you actually sometimes you forget, and you feel like your mind is all clogged. Maybe you want to consider start eating more fish, more, when they say animal products, I don't know, for some reason animal products, they don't consider fish an animal. Sometimes, I say you need to say, low in red meat, and pork, maybe, because those are, meats that they may have more saturated fat than all the other meats. But then you can actually incorporate some chicken and turkey without the skin, because the skin is where all the cholesterol is. And then fish, fish is wonderful. Shellfish, on the other hand, is very high in cholesterol. That can also increase your cholesterol. So of course you want to be cautious, but actually salmon, tuna, mackerel, tilapia, cod, those are fish that you may want to consider, because actually in the Mediterranean diet, fish is a big thing. They want you to eat 2 or more servings of fish every week. So, that's actually wonderful. So the Mediterranean diet, very, very important, because it will include, tons of fruits and vegetables. They want you to have, remember, vegetables. It's not potatoes, or potato, French fries. No, actually, vegetables. Think about leafy vegetables, or maybe bell peppers, cucumbers, carrots. All the good vegetables, right? That we call non-starchy. And then fruits. You want to be careful with fruits, because if you have diabetes, of course, the recommendation is to eat 3 servings of fruits per day. When I say servings, it's not a whole watermelon, okay? It's just maybe you cut the watermelon in 8 pieces, and one eighth of the watermelon is a portion. So think about, if you make a fist, right? This is a cup. So think about a cup of fruit. That would be, something you want to consider, or like a tennis ball size of fruit. That's also a cup. Okay. Fats and oils, the reason we recommend more of the healthy fats is because studies show that, extra virgin olive oil, canola oil, and then, of course, nuts and seeds, they give you mono and polyunsaturated fats that they're good for your heart and your brain and all the membranes. So that's why we want you to focus more on the healthy fats. Avocados, protein. Eat fish twice a week. See, I was telling you about the Mediterranean diet. Limit red meat to once or twice a month. and because again, red meat, when it's very high in fat, can be very, it can cause actually oxidation in your body, and then it can, activate inflammation. So that's why if you eat too much red meat, you end up having issues with, prostate cancer, colon cancer, and for women, more breast cancer also. And dairy, of course, dairy is in the eye of the beholder because, the Dairy Council, they try to, be everywhere. But as adults, the recommendation for milk, if you want to have a glass of milk per day, is okay. And again, it doesn't have to be cow's milk. It can be also soy milk, almond milk, because at the end of the day, all the milks are fortified with calcium and vitamin D, which is good for you. But, I would recommend more when it comes to dairy, Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is wonderful, and it has all the probiotics for your intestines. So that really works well. And then remember that in the dairy group, you also have another protein, which is the cheese, because cheese actually is pretty much, all the lactose is gone in the cheese. So cheese is another good choice if you want to have in the afternoon a piece of cheese with some crackers. That can also, and again, you can always choose cheeses that they are, lower in fat, like maybe mozzarella cheese, feta cheese, panela cheese. Believe it or not, cheddar cheese has a little less fat. So you always can choose other different cheeses. And sometimes low fat cheeses also are good. Low fat Monterey Jack cheese, they remove the fat, so it doesn't taste that good, but at least, if you like to eat some of the cheeses, that's okay. So this is actually, breakfast idea if you want to try to eat following the Mediterranean diet, the Mediterranean Dash diet. Okay. Breakfast, oatmeal with walnuts and fresh blueberries, fat-free milk or soy milk, slice of whole grain bread and old-fashioned peanut butter. Lunch, lentil soup. You see, they do add, kind of like a vegetarian style meal in there, with salad with fresh carrots, tomatoes, walnuts, and extra virgin olive oil and vinegar. And then, of course, some cubed watermelon and cantaloupe there. And then for dinner, of course, grilled salmon, steamed zucchini and summer squash, brown rice, salad with fresh vegetables, walnuts, and extra virgin olive oil and vinegar. And then, of course, strawberries and plain non-fat yogurt. So you can see that it's very high fiber and very heart healthy diet. So, those are the best recommendations right there. Then you also have the low-fat plant-based diet. Why they say low-fat? Because actually what they do recommend is, to eat, handful of nuts, but no nuts all day. They do provide you with some nuts. So this one also includes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and soy products in their natural form. Small amounts of nuts and seeds are okay. They also, recommend 2 servings of fat-free milk and egg whites, which are okay. And then 1 serving a day of full fat soy food like tofu, edamame, tempeh. Those are, if you like to eat Chinese food, Japanese food, tofu, edamame, tempeh are very common. And edamame is what she's eating in the picture. It's pretty much like the steamed soybeans, and then they usually sell them frozen, so you can actually, warm them up in the microwave. So super healthy if you like to eat more, plant-based foods. For a low-fat, plant-based diet, sample, we have for breakfast oatmeal with fresh blueberries, fat-free milk or soy milk. Lunch, lentil soup again, but then they give you, salad with fresh carrots, tomatoes, and balsamic vinegar. See, it doesn't have oil. And then cubed watermelon and cantaloupe. And then, of course, for dinner, they have the grilled portobello mushroom, the big mushroom that looks, more like meat, believe it or not. Steamed zucchini and summer squash, brown rice, salad with fresh vegetables and balsamic vinegar, strawberries. So you can see it's more, plant-based food. Okay, and of course, you have another approach, which is, making the healthy plate. If you look at these plates, they're going to make you hungry. Half the plate has those non-starchy vegetables I was telling you earlier, and here you will see something that maybe is not very, familiar to you. It's nopales or cactus, that is, well known in the Mexican culture, that actually, nopales actually, for this plate, for the vegetarian plate or vegan plate, yes, it is a complete protein. You know why, Carol? Because quinoa is a complete protein by itself. So this is actually, a complete protein already. I don't know if you guys know, but complete proteins means, we have, I think it's about, I don't remember exactly, but I think it's like, yes, this is actually a complete protein because of the quinoa being a complete protein. We have some amino acids. I don't remember how many, that they're essential, meaning that we don't make them in our body. So we find them in animal products like chicken, fish, and of course, egg whites. Those are complete proteins, meaning that it has all the amino acids. But see, soy and quinoa, they are complete proteins. So yes, this plate is a complete protein. And again, here you will see that it's brown rice, like kind of like a Spanish brown rice, and here you will see quinoa. Quinoa is a grain that comes from Peru. It's been around for a while, many, 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 many years. And now, it came to the United States. So it's kind of like a rice. It's not exactly like a rice, but, you can use it in the same way. And of course, it takes a while until you get used to it, but, it's not really that bad. Edamame in the last dish. Which one? In this one here, this is actually a complete food, yeah, because soy is a complete fruit. Soy has, complete protein. Yes, soy is a complete protein. So edamame is a complete protein. Yep. Yeah, you can also make a complete protein if you like to have, whole wheat bread and peanut butter. You make a complete protein too. That's the reason that sometimes people who are vegetarian. But remember, some studies now show that you don't need to eat the complete protein at once. That you can actually have it. You can have the beans in the morning and the rice in the evening, and then the proteins complete themselves in your body. So you don't have to worry about having a meal with a complete protein at the same. These are other plates that you can see here. This one is a turkey burger with vegetables, skewers, and grilled romaine. Look at how nice it looks. This is actually chicken and brown rice veggie bowl with Chinese cabbage, snap peas, bell peppers, and carrots. It looks very good. So again, if you look here, you're going to have half a plate with vegetables. The other half you divide in two, you add some protein, and then of course you can add a starch on the plate, one or two servings of starch. This in this case is like a cup of rice. These are all the ideas with, fish tacos and cabbage law and pico de gallo, and then tofu and brown rice bowl, and with thinly sliced vegetables, sesame seeds, and Thai basil. And then we're going to discuss a little bit sodium. Sodium is, found in all the processed foods. Everything that's packaged usually has sodium, even bread, okay? Found in most foods. Most sodium is in processed foods, definitely. And of course, you want to limit to no more than 2,400 milligrams a day. Before, many, many, years ago, we used to recommend 2,000 milligrams of sodium per serving, if you had high blood pressure. So, this is actually one of the handouts that we used to provide, in individual appointments before. And this one comes from the clinical library. So, I wanted to, share here, that's the Nutrition in Focus Low Sodium Guidelines, and again, sodium is found in the label, and anything that is less than 140 milligrams of sodium, and I can type it here, less than 140 milligrams of sodium is considered low sodium. Okay, so for example, in this case, this is a slice of bread and it has 156 milligrams of sodium. It's not really that bad, but maybe, you can find a bread with less sodium, like Ezekiel. Ezekiel doesn't have any sodium. Okay, so again, sometimes checking the labels is very important to find the amount of sodium, especially if you know that you want to have no more than 2400 milligrams per day. Sodium really adds up, especially when you eat tons of processed foods. So as you can see, most salt comes from processed and restaurant foods. 77% processed and restaurant foods give you a lot of salts. Yes, Carol. I buy Dave's Killer Bread. I recommend it. They don't give me any money, okay? So, but Dave's Killer Bread is a very low sodium bread. It's a organic bread, recommended 100%. And if you have diabetes, the thin slice, okay? Thin sliced, because that's the one that actually I buy. I buy the good seed at Costco. The thin slice good seed at Costco. It comes 2 packages, Carol, sip. Wonderful, because it's a wonderful bread. I love it. And, once you toast it, all those, seeds become super crunchy. I really love it. You know, Remember, sodium comes 5% from home cooking, so that's nothing. 6% while you eat, because of course, if you're eating, I love it. I love Dave's Killer Brain. And 12% naturally occurring. So all these, we don't care much, but we do care for 77% of the processed foods and restaurant foods. So let me show you this. This is actually uh, the Dennis breakfast sandwich. We have to remove Dennis, but that's what it was. And how much sodium is in the typical sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich? This was from Dennis. Okay, so we have to remove. And I know you guys are gonna say, "Oh, 1600 milligrams," but actually, it's very close. It's 1200 milligrams of sodium. So imagine if you need 2400 milligrams of sodium, you're having pretty much half of the sodium that you need in a day in a sandwich for breakfast. So then that means that the rest of the day you don't have to even look at anything with salt. So salt can add very very fast, and then can affect the fluid balance in your body. So what can you do to eat less sodium, right? So they have the recommendations, you want to eat fewer processed, packaged, and canned foods, cook at home more often, eat more fresh foods like vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, and peas. Use lemon juice, herbs, wine, flavor, vinegars, and spices instead of salt to actually season your foods. And then don't add salt to food when cooking or at the table. you know so again, sometimes just a little salt before you eat, but be careful, because it can add up. When we say 2400 milligrams of salt a day, that means less than a teaspoon of salt. Actually, that will give you 2400 milligrams of sodium as a teaspoon of salt. Adds up very very quickly. And then, we have sugar. Sugar actually is a troublemaker too, because, we won the battle of, the added sugar. So they are removing sugar from many, many of the foods. But eating too much sugar also has been linked with heart disease and a higher risk of dying from heart disease. So I wanted to share this. This link is from, added sugars, and the explanation from the American Heart Association. Once you go into this link, of course, the first thing they do is they ask you to donate. So just click no, so you can read the article. But they do give you my banana smoothies with almond, beets, spinach, oatmeal, pineapple. Sorry, it is good, but is it fine to mix all these veggies and fruit together? Actually, the almond, of course, almond is if it's almond milk, right? Beets are perfectly fine. Spinach are fine. Oatmeal is perfect. Cucumber, quinoa, chia, celery, so perfect, because actually, uh, you know, we don't consider cucumber a vegetable with dietitians, although it is actually we consider it a vegetable. We don't consider a fruit, although cucumber technically is a fruit. So it's perfectly fine. That actually, Christian, that smoothie can really help you lower your cholesterol. Look, you're mixing oatmeal and quinoa and chia, which actually are very high fiber items there. So that's wonderful. That sounds like a very good smoothie. So great. You're giving me ideas. I'm going to write it down. See, look, they have a smoothie here. But again, if you make your own smoothies, you don't add any extra sugar, it's perfectly fine. Good, good. So she's taking good care of you. Remember that sugar is added in sodas, in sweet teas. Like for example, the other day I had someone drinking like 5 Dr. Peppers a day. That's a lot of sugar. What do you need for a day's worth of protein? Actually, a third cup of quinoa gives you about 6 grams of protein. You're not going to be able to eat a lot of, quinoa can be very, can make you feel full very quickly. So if you have a cup of quinoa is 3 servings, so it would be like 18 grams of protein. So I don't think you're going to be able to eat, because in a day, usually we need in between 50, 60 grams of protein. So if you want to eat 50 grams, protein, quinoa, give me a second, 50 divided by 6. Actually, well, it will be like about 10 servings of quinoa. So that would be a lot of quinoa if you want to eat to fulfill the whole day of protein. So I wouldn't eat all that protein, all that quinoa in a day. I would recommend for you to have like a cup of quinoa per meal. And then if you want to add some beans, if you want to do it more like a vegetarian meal. Because if you have a cup of quinoa, you're having about, three, 6 times 3, like 18 grams of, protein, and about 60 grams of protein. So, yeah, unless you want to have 10 servings of quinoa, would be your answer. Remember the drinks? I'm just trying to figure out how much per meal in comparison to meat, fish. Oh, okay. So yeah, actually, a cup of quinoa is about 18 grams of protein, and fish or meat actually give you 21 gram in 3 ounces, which is the palm of the hand of meat. So actually, it would be about like a cup of quinoa. That would be pretty much equivalent to 3 ounces of meat or fish. A cup of quinoa. Yep. If that's the answer. You're welcome. Now remember that each one of these is a teaspoon. And of course, look at all the teaspoons in some of these, and even the blended coffee, the Frappuccino has also fat added. So of course, you want to make sure that you try to stay away from, added sugar. Like I said, sugar converts to triglycerides, and of course, triglycerides convert to cholesterol. So we now see that sugar is very bad for us too. And exercise, the question is why exercise is good for you, because you're exercising your heart. you know, um, Exercise improves lipid levels, reduces stress, boosts energy levels, helps sleep better, of course, maintains healthy bones, muscles, and joints, and then, of course, builds lean muscle and helps maintain weight. So look at all the benefits that we have with exercise, right? So think about it, because if you can start moving more every day. If you haven't exercised for a while, maybe you want to start like doing 10 minutes every day, so you can start moving. You don't even have to go out. You can move inside, and if you want to start moving, let me, show you this. Actually, there is a channel, by the name of Leslie. Well, there is a lady by the name of Leslie Sanson. Leslie Sanson, she has a channel for walking indoors, and what I usually do is I just try to recommend, this, her channel. Yeah, so I'm going to share the Leslie's channel here with you guys, in the links here. What she does is, well, in the beginning it was her alone, and then she started having a partnership with the American Heart Association. So she started making available tons of their videos. Sometimes if you're watching from YouTube and you don't pay for YouTube, you will see that she has tons of ads in the middle, but it's a good. Sometimes if I cannot go for a walk in the morning, I just do 30 minutes of Leslie in front of my TV. So that really, really helps. 30 minutes with her, sometimes you do 3,000, 4,000 steps. So it's a good workout. So that's something that you may want to consider, if you want to be more active. And then that's a recommendation from the American Heart Association, the Dietary Guidelines, and Kaiser follows the same. Aim for 150 minutes each week. 30 minutes of moderate activity 5 or more days a week. And again, remember, moderate means that you are actually working your heart. So you're able to breathe, and have a quick conversation, but you're feeling your heart, pumping and moving. And of course, if you haven't been active, you want to start slow, like I mentioned earlier, 10, 15 minutes that really help. Walking the dog is good, you know, it's wonderful. And then, of course, you want to make an action plan. Maybe after all you learned today, you may want to start exercising more, or maybe you want to add more of the healthy fats, or, so there are many things that you can do, right? But you want to include a specific action or behavior that you want to say, add more fat or start moving more, something that you want to do, because these are my ideas, but maybe you want to do something different. And then, of course, something that you can accomplish, right? That's number one. And then, for example, here, they show you an example of an action plan for heart healthy eating. So action is, what are you going to do? I'm going to eat green salad and vegetables. How much are you going to do it? Well, 1 cup of salad and 1 serving of vegetables. When are you going to do it? Lunch and dinner. How many days of the week are you going to do it? Monday, Wednesday, Friday. See, so you can start with a small goal, eating more greens and salads, and then start building on that. So that's a quick action plan. Make it personal. Don't say, oh, my doctor wants me to eat more greens, because then it's not going to work. You need to actually want to do it, right? So maybe you don't like greens, maybe you want to start eating more carrots, or maybe you want to eat more tomatoes. So start with somewhere that you actually can move forward with changes, right? So and ask yourself, on a scale of 0 to 10, how important is it for you to change right now? And then on a scale of 0 to 10, how confident are you that you could make this change, right? Because if you tell me, oh, yeah, I want to start walking 5 days a week, but you haven't been walking in 5 years, that may be like a very, very big, action plan. So maybe you want to break it down so you can be confident that you can accomplish it. So, it has to be realistic, right? So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I hope you guys join us in other groups. Take care now.